Thanks, Aaron. Good morning, everybody. I'm David Regan. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'm pleased to welcome you all here today. I think we have 2 mornings of some excellent speakers ahead of us, and grateful for the organization to bring that together, especially in this time of COVID where we can enjoy it from our offices or from our homes. I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker this morning. She's a powerhouse and will do a lot to wake us up as we start our summit off on the right foot, as we are trying to get our staff and practices back on a strong footing. And I know that's been a challenge for many towards the end of 2021 and will be probably into the start of 2022. I think she'll provide some great insight for working with our employees and helping keep our practices on track. GeGe Beall is our speaker. She's worked in healthcare, human resources, and organizational development for her entire career. She's served as a vice president of organizational development and director of human resources at several HCA hospitals. She has a master's in organizational and industrial psychology and is the owner of Engaged at Work, where she helps companies enhance their culture, which you feel really is key to impacting the leadership, the organization, the staff, and their success in the medical practice environment. GeGe has a host of certifications, including she's a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives, is a senior professional in human resources, and is here to share her experience with all of us today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce GeGe Beall. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Thanks everyone for being here. We are still Zooming for a while, and that actually allows us some freedom, which is great. I want to thank Aaron and the Educational Committee for having me here. I'm coming to you from Richmond, Virginia today, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and get started. Today we're going to be talking about our patients. Love them or lose them. And here's one of the things I want to tell you. I thrive on your participation. We're going to be having a quiz embedded in this, and I'm going to ask you to use your chat box to answer how you feel the question should be answered. Lots of it's multiple choice. Also, if you have questions, I've told Aaron, you can certainly put a question in the chat, and Aaron is monitoring that for me so that I can answer as we go. I do have a lot of information to get to you, so let's move forward. Here's kind of the things we want to talk about. I want to talk about why service is important. I want to talk about what is it that patients want exactly. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Disney and their approach to service. I was fortunate enough to go to Disney to study what they do for customer service. And so many of the things that they do are applicable to our practices and our businesses. So I'm going to share 2 techniques that Disney uses that you can apply today. So I've got a couple tools and tips, and then we're going to talk about what leaders can do to improve the service focus. Now, I do want to start by saying, I know you're exhausted. I know your staff is exhausted. I cannot imagine being on site going what you have been through. Now we're taking temperatures in the parking lot. Now we're not. Now we've got partitions up. Now we don't have partitions up. All your staff trying to deal with their kids are in school, they're out of school, their relatives who are in nursing homes. There's just been so much additional to just getting the job done. And so I know you really have a form of PTSD. This is how I think you probably feel. People are pulling on you all the time with another question, and you're constantly having to make decisions about what is right for your business now. And I know that we have been calling you all superheroes. And indeed you are superheroes. But I also know that you probably feel more like this. This is the kind of superhero you feel like. And again, you still have the cape, you still have the mask. So you still to us are a superhero. So I just want to say thank you so much for everything you have done to help not only your practice get through this, and your employees and your patients and your physicians get through this, but thank you for helping get your community and the world through this. You are doing your part to help get us past this. Yesterday, I was at an MGMA in Virginia, and we actually had our very first live event. But again, people are really not ready to come back. It was a very small turnout because people are still leery about where we are. Let's move on to talk about our patients. Love them or lose them. So we're going to start with a quiz, and Erin's going to help me monitor this. I'm going to ask a question and just write your answer in the chat box. And please note, we're not going to call you by name at all. She's just going to say, I see a lot of A's, or I see a lot of B's, or that type of thing. The first one actually is like a fill in the blank. And it is this person a patient or a customer? Are they a patient or a customer? Write it in the chat. And I'm not going to wait too long on you guys writing, because I've got a lot of information. Patient or customer? What are you seeing, Erin?
I'm seeing both and customers.
Okay, so the word both is correct.
Yes.
They are both. And it's really interesting because in healthcare, for the longest time, we put ourselves in a certain category, a separate category. We're healthcare. But the truth is, we are a service business, and they will shop. Our patients are shopping us just like they do a store, a grocery store, or a shoe shop. They are shopping us just like they do a store. So who do you work for? Who pays your salary? Again, put it in the chat. Who do you work for? Who pays your salary? All right, there come the numbers. I'm seeing that people are filling in. What you see, Erin?
Customers, patients, insurance companies.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Yes. And again, the insurance companies pay you, but it often is the customer who has chosen to come to your business. So we have to remember that they are the very reason for our existence, the very reason. I have this quote that we'll go through it. A customer is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption in our work. He is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider in our business. He's part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. And that is Mahatma Gandhi, Indian leader. One of my practice managers has taken this quote and posted it in her office to help her remember that we get all caught up in doing reports, and we're looking at spreadsheets, and we're looking at supplies, and we're looking at hours, and we're constantly looking at that stuff, and we often forget the very essence of why we're here, and that is our customers and our patients. So here we go, multiple choice. If a patient has a bad experience, how many people will they tell? A, B, or C? A, B, or C? If a patient has a bad experience, how many people will they tell?
We're between mostly C's, but a few B's.
Okay, and the answer is actually C. People are very fond of complaining. So if they have a bad experience, they're going to tell everyone they know, and they might tell hundreds if they post it on Facebook or their favorite social media. And it happens all the time now that people post on social media. What percent of people? This is just a question to ask. You don't have to answer this one in the comments. What percent of people nationwide read online reviews, and what percent trust them? 91% of people now read online reviews, and most everyone trusts them because they figure if someone has taken the time to write a review, it must be true. So the question is, are you monitoring your online reviews? Do you know what they say? Because again, people are out there, when they're making a decision about whether they come to you or not, they are going there and reading them. Or if the patient themselves are not, their family members are. All right, get ready in the chat. Customers leave. What percent is due to poor service? A, B, C, or D? Customers leave. What percent is due to poor service?
Getting mostly C's, but some D's.
Okay, very good on the C's. It is. 60% of people leave us due to poor service. Now, the other reason why people leave us is, well, they may leave us because they moved away. They may have passed away. They may no longer need our service if we're a specialty practice. But the main reason people walk away is they want to try someone else because we somehow did not please them. I have to tell you, I teach classes all the time on patient satisfaction and leadership and staff engagement. I'm a professional leaver. I have left so many medical practices, and it's just because the service is bad. They're not showing me that they care. They're not connecting with me, and they don't ever call me to ask me why I left. And that's the thing. Are you tracking who leaves you and why they don't come back? Are you talking to people and checking in? How many bad service experiences does it take to scare a customer off? How many bad service experiences does it take to scare a customer off? Get your answers in.
Getting mainly, it's a split between A's and B's.
Okay, the actual answer is A. It doesn't take much. And here's what I tell you, it doesn't even take one real one, right? It's perception. People perceive there's a problem and they use that. So let's say you and I are employees at a practice and I look at you and you say something smart aleck to me and I roll my eyes, we're joking. If the patient sees that eye roll, they may assume it was about them and it wasn't at all. So people are coming into you in a fractured emotional state to begin with. They are not in a normal state when they come to a physician's office. And so we have to remember that they are not necessarily thinking normally. So all it takes is one. In fact, there was a Harris Interactive poll that said 86% of people say they've stopped doing business with a company because of just one bad customer service experience. Here's a quote that I got from crowdsourcing. I'd rather take a beating than go to my doctor's office. I left without telling them. New member, concierge medical practice. I don't know if we have any concierge practices here online today. I do know that this particular person is paying now $1,500 a year just because he knows that they're going to give him great service for that. There's other things, but mostly what it all comes down to is great service is what a concierge offers. And I maintain that you all can be as good as a concierge. The problem is, what are you doing that might be scaring people off? One of the things I've found is that when I talk to patients who leave, sometimes they'll say, I left because the office staff was terrible. They treated me poorly. Or it will be the opposite. I left because the physician treated me terribly. The staff was great. So the question is, do you know how your patients are being treated by those in your practice? What percent of unhappy customers speak up? Go ahead, give me your best shot there. What percent of unhappy customers speak up? Throw it in the chat. What you seeing, Aaron?
This is
This is a difficult one, right?
yeah, this is a pretty dead heat between A and B.
Okay, all right. So here's what it is. It's A. It seems like people speak up all the time and complain, but the truth is they don't. Most people don't speak up. There's only 4% of our customers typically that are going to speak up if they're unhappy, which means that if you for every customer who complains, there's 24 more who feel the same way but don't speak up. Okay, so people are not speaking up. Instead, what are they doing? They're complaining on Facebook. They're telling their neighbors. They're complaining on Instagram. Or they're doing all of that and just voting with their feet, walking away. So one of the things that's very important is if you have people who are unhappy, you need to not try and nice it out of them and smile and just try and be in a good mood and hope they get over it. You need to ask them what's wrong and you need to deal with the problem. And we need to realize that sometimes the problem is us and sometimes it's a problem that they've created for themselves that they're unhappy about. But as Bill Gates says, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. So you should not shy away from them. You should feel free to talk to them, find out what's making them unhappy so that you can address the problem. Get ready, get in that chat box. Of those who don't speak up, what percent simply leave and never willingly do business with you again? What percent of those who don't speak up simply leave and never willingly do business with you again? Okay, Aaron, what you got?
This is mainly D's.
Yep, that's it. And that's right, 91%. So that's the people who, I'm not speaking up, I'm just going to leave you. And as I tell you, I've left many medical practices and not spoken. And the reason people don't speak up is because they're afraid you'll be defensive about it. They're afraid you won't be open-minded. They're afraid that when they talk about things like service, that's more loosey-goosey. If I said something like, you bruised me when you pulled blood from me, that's pretty no argument about that. But if you talk about service things, well, they weren't very warm, they weren't very welcoming. Those are things that people don't feel as comfortable discussing, though we feel very comfortable judging it. We've been judging service our whole lives, but we feel very uncomfortable bringing that up because we are afraid you're not going to believe us. It's just much easier to slink away and go someplace else than to try and fix a place that may not seem to even be concerned about being fixed. We waited 30 minutes, no service. We've all been there. I especially love how they use the mustard to underline the words. See, that's a countertop there. We've all been in a situation where we've not been waited on. What percent of customers are willing to leave you because they heard another practice offers better service? They heard it. Give me a number, A, B, C, or D. All right, what you think, Aaron?
Well, this is all over the place.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they're a good mix in this one.
Okay, good. And here's the thing about this quiz. I'm not expecting anybody to get all these right. Else, what am I doing here, right? What am I doing here if you already know all the answers? So it's good that we are unsure of this. The correct answer is actually C. And that's pretty scary. That's 60% of your patients are willing to leave just because they heard the practice down the road might offer better service. They might be a little quicker. They might spend more time talking to them. So that is completely just word of mouth. What's the only way to distinguish yourself from your competitor? This is a gimme. Everyone better get this one right. What is the only way we can differentiate ourselves? If you are a dermatology practice, you and the other dermatologists all offer about the same thing. So, okay, you might add another service, but is that going to actually pull patients away? Cheaper prices? I mean, really, we're not even really compare prices. The only thing that's going to matter, the only thing that you can do to differentiate yourself is to offer high quality service. That's it. That's it. So I'm not sure why we're not doing it. If you think about fast food, when we talk about fast food, who comes to mind as far as offering excellent service? I'm going to say it, Chick-fil-A. Somehow they manage to train these teenagers that we have trouble training in our own houses to say, my pleasure, when you say thank you to them, and giving great service. There is no reason why we cannot make our practices just like Chick-fil-A as far as manners and that type of thing. Here's a bonus. There are over 1 million tweets about service every week. What percent of these are negative? Give me an answer real quick. Let me check my time. Real quick. And you ready? Aaron, what do you have there?
Mostly C's.
Yes, C is correct. Thank you so much. C is correct. And I want to give you this example. This guy right here, Jean-Luc Picard, right? It's actually Patrick Stewart. And here he is tweeting. All I wanted to do was set up a new account with Time Warner Cable, New York City. But after 36 hours, I've lost the will to live. And then Time Warner Cable sees that and says, Sir Patrick, how can we assist you? And Patrick Stewart says, if that question had been asked at any time in the last 36 hours, it would have been of value. But now? So who's he tweeting to? He's just tweeting to the world. How many people have the potential to see him complaining about cable TV? 3 million. 3 million. People have lost patience with bad service, and they will just proclaim it to the world if your service is not up to standard. So let's talk for a moment about what it is that patients want. What do patients want? So if you could just type in the chat box a few things that you think patients want. What do you think they want? And this study was in the Journal of the Journal of American Medical Association, and it was by Alan Detsky, who's not only an MD but he's a PhD. So he's a double doctor. He's a Dr. Detsky. You have anything in the chat there, Aaron?
To be listened to and heard and respected, someone to listen, my problem addressed, convenience and good service, validation of their concerns and feelings.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. The number one thing that people want is they want you to fix their health problem, whatever that is. They want you to fix their health problem. Now, here's the other things that they want. They want you to be timely. And that we'll talk about that more in just a little bit. They want you to be kind. If we think about actually giving our bodies over to someone, they're actually going to touch us. This is the most personal thing we have and that we can entrust someone with. And we sure want you to be nice and kind and empathetic and understanding. Patients want hope and certainty. And when we say hope and certainty, that means that they want you to, if you're trying to figure out a problem, that's fine, but they want to feel hopeful, even if they are passing away. They want to know, maybe I can make it to my daughter's wedding. Maybe, maybe there's something that will relieve my pain. Maybe there's something that will help me go with grace. But they want you to also know what the heck you're doing. Even if you're figuring out a problem, they want to feel that you are knowledgeable, that your practice is knowledgeable. They want continuity, choice, coordination. And by that, I mean that the front office knows what the back office is doing, that there is a seamless coordination, and there's not these things that we all know it happens, right? That someone somehow came in and they're not on the books and now everybody's in a tizzy about things, but that we smooth all that out and that we are talking to each other and that we have continuity and we are not throwing each other under the bus. That is a terrible thing. If you have silos in your practice, you need to get rid of them. By that, I mean, oftentimes, like a clinician may throw the schedulers under the bus. Oh, well, they've overscheduled me. We cannot be throwing anyone under the bus because what it looks like your practice is in disarray if you're slinging arrows at each other. That is the last thing people want to get involved in, is a turf war in your own office. So we have to get rid of that. Here's another study. They looked at 6,000 people and they said, what do you want? And it is staff friendliness. I'm telling you, friendliness goes a long way. 70% say it's key to winning or losing them as a patient. So people say it's twice more important in healthcare than in any other business, whether airlines, hotel desks. Again, it's because I'm giving you my body and my health. And so I want you to be kind. When this is probably, I tell people, it's like, if you know this quote, then we don't have to go any further. This is the whole shebang right here. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's Maya Angelou. So it doesn't matter what your people are saying necessarily or doing. Are they making people feel welcome? Or do people feel rushed? Or do they feel like you're so busy that you're not even making eye contact with them? Do they feel like they're just a number? What is it that, again, go back and look at Chick-fil-A. Driving through them now during the pandemic, it's like you're going into an amusement park. They've got 4 lanes here where we are, and I bet they do where you are. But they are efficient and they're kind. You can be busy and kind. Busyness does not mean unkindness. 70% of customer experience is based on how they feel they are being treated. Again, it's always perception. I worked I was part of the HCA for a long time, and we did patient satisfaction scores across our whole organization: inpatient, surgical services, outpatient testing and treatment, the ER, and we did numbers quarterly. We had quarterly results, yearly results, and I looked at things across several years. And so what we found is that there was one question that our overall, that if we were high on that particular question, our patient satisfaction numbers overall were high. So what that means is that we could pretty much look at one question, and that was a predictor of our overall patient satisfaction. And that question was this. It's not even a question, it's a statement. Staff cared about me as a person. I just want that to set with you. Staff cared about me as a person. Isn't that the most basic thing we can do for anyone? Is to care about them as a person. That's what they're looking for. They're coming to you for help. So they want the medical help, but they want the kindness help too. The bottom line is they are looking for connection. So I'm going to give you 3 ways today. I've got 25 minutes. I got to end at 9:55. So I may go fast at times to make sure you get all the information that I've got here. But I'm going to give you 3 ways. These are 3 tools that you can take with you today. And these tools are things you're going to have to train your staff on. Okay, you have to train them and then hold them accountable for it. I will tell you this, I don't have time to show this, but take a picture of this screen. And I can also send this to Erin for her to send out to you. This is a video that you should show at a staff meeting. It's about 4 minutes. If you've not seen it, make sure you have Kleenexes nearby. This connects back to our purpose as caregivers and talks about the importance of empathy and how we all need empathy, whether we're a patient or a coworker. So I highly recommend this video. It's free. Cleveland Clinic put it out there for everyone to use. So what is the most prominent emotion our patients are feeling? And that is this: fear. They are afraid. You're not a first choice on people's places to want to go. And so when they come in, they are anxious. And I like to give this example. This is my daughter several years ago. That's not our dog. I'm not sure whose dog that is, but it is my daughter. So several years ago when she was in high school, she started having a bellyache. And, I've worked in healthcare since 1990, so I did what any good long-term healthcare employee would do. And I told her just to walk it off, like just ignore it. She's fine, just slow down your eating. You eat too fast. And so, well, that didn't fly for very long. She had something going on. So I took her to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician said, you need to get us an ultrasound this week. Well, she's a teenager. That totally freaked her out. She felt like she had cancer. She decided she had cancer and she was dying. And, the fact that the doctor said, get it right away, that kind of thing. So, think about this. How did that girl sleep the night before her test? How was she going to the test? I can see this anxiety. I was trying to tell her, he's just trying to knock out some things. He's just trying to figure out what's going on. Just assume that everything's going to be fine. Or if there is something we can find, then that's good. So we get to the ultrasound at a shopping mall. So we end up there. We've had an appointment made for a while, and we walk in, and the person at the front desk is writing, and they don't even look up. And here's my daughter, completely terrified, and the person at the desk goes, do you have an appointment? Didn't look up, didn't smile, didn't welcome us. My daughter almost physically bolted. The stress we'd been dealing with all week because of her fear, and this one person just inflamed it by a lack of unkindness. Now, when we got back for the ultrasound, the technician was outstanding and wonderful and warm and kind and helpful. And my daughter is fine. She's fine. She just had a little bit of minor gastritis, but she did have something. But the person at the front desk really blew it for us for a while. So we have to remember there's ways to reduce people's fear, and we need to assume everyone walking in is fearful. So some of you may know this technique and some of you may not. The number one tool I'm going to talk to you about is teaching your staff to use the tool of aid it. Aid it. And each letter stands for something that I'm going to go through. And the first thing that A stands for is acknowledging. We must tell our staff that they must acknowledge everyone. If I'm walking past a patient in the hallway that is not mine, right, but they're all ours. But if I'm walking past a patient, I should smile and nod. I should project a friendly environment, just like these fast food places do when they're welcoming us. Our staff should be welcoming people. So we need to acknowledge everyone who comes in our door, whether they are in front of us or they're passing by us. We need to smile, say hello if it's appropriate, at least smile and nod. The next part of aid it is I. Everyone should be introducing themselves, and y'all are terrible at this. I shouldn't say y'all. I should say all the practices I keep leaving. I keep leaving practices. They'll take me back. They've got my name right there on the chart, but they won't tell me who they are, and they immediately start taking my vitals, touching my body, right? They're invading my space, and I don't even know who they are. If you want people to feel like we are all in this together, we have to personalize our care. And the most personal thing we can do is introduce ourselves. If I know your name is Dawn, then now I feel like we have a relationship. And I don't have to, people say, well, we've got name tags. Those name tags are usually very small and they're in awkward places. And to make me try and look at that name tag, your staff should be introducing themselves. And that means the front desk too. The front desk should be saying, hi, my name's Betty. We're so glad you're here. And even if they've been there for a long time, oh, hey, Mrs. Johnson, it's great to see you. I'm Betty, remember? We need to personalize this. We need to make people feel welcomed, like they're going to a place that really cares about them. And one of the things we can do is introduce ourselves. The next thing is duration. Duration. Everyone's, I don't know how your particular practice is about waiting, and how on schedule you are or off schedule you are. But I'm going to tell you, you need to make sure that you, no matter what's going on, that you are honest with people about the time. So if the doctor is going to be with them in about 30 minutes, then you need to make it a little bit longer. We want to under promise, over deliver. And here's what I'm gonna tell you. We tend to cut it the other way. We tend to say, oh, it'll be just 10 minutes or so. And it's really 20. And we're hoping that by saying 10 minutes will help calm them down. And that really just makes them matter. And I'm gonna give you an example of this. Back in the days when we used to go out to restaurants all the time, which we will be doing again, they would give us a beeper, right? And they'd say 20 minutes. And we go, okay, I can wait 20 minutes. And then think about that. As that beeper is getting closer to 20 minutes, we're watching, we're looking around, seeing who else is going. Oh yeah, they were here before us. And so we're constantly looking. And if 20 minutes gets here and that beeper's not gone off, now we're upset. We're hungry and upset. And we're going to go send somebody up to the front to see where we are on the list and how much longer it's going to be. So this is no different. Your waiting room is no different than a restaurant. You should be honestly following up with how long the wait is going to be. And some of your doctors are better at this than others. Some of them might be coming from the hospital, but be very honest and under promise, over deliver. It's much better to tell them 20 minutes and it be 10 than the other way around. And I will tell you, I like this one. When the nurse calls my name at the doctor's office, I like to run through the waiting room like I got called and the price is right. It's true. That's how we feel. My question is, are we training our patients to be late? Are we training them to come to us late because we're running so late that they figure, well, they're always 20 minutes late. I might as well be 20 minutes late. And I know that starts impacting you if you're doing procedures, because procedures tend not to be as late as the physicians are. But we just have to think about that. We may very well be training our patients to walk in the door late because of our ensuing lateness. So the E in aid it is explain. We need to be explaining to people what's going to happen. You're going to come in and going to fill out this paperwork. It'll take about 20 minutes. From there, you're going to go into a treatment room and you'll wait where you'll get your vitals taken by an MA. whatever. We need to be telling people. In healthcare, it's our personal space that's being invaded. I'm a psychologist. We love to do shocking experiments, and one of the things that we used to do is we would take a group of people, divide them in half, and we'd say, okay, you people on the right, we're going to shock you. And at the end of the shocking experiment, we're going to ask you to do a smiley face pain scale and tell us how much pain you felt. Over here, people on the left, we're going to shock you too, and we're going to shock you just as hard as we did the people on the right. But we're going to give you a warning buzzer before we shock you, and then we're going to ask you to rate your pain scale. So as you might guess, the people on the left who got the warning felt less pain. So that means that we and our staff can control and help people actually feel less physical pain by simply telling them what's going to happen. So we need to do a great job of doing that. It helps people with informed decisions. It's their right to know. It builds trust because they feel like you're taking care of them, gives them time to prepare. And then the T is thank people. Again, I'm using Chick-fil-A because they're such a master at it. They constantly thank you for coming in. Are we doing that with our patients? They are choosing to come to us. We have our livelihood, our houses, our cars, our children. All of that stuff is because of the people that choose to come to us, and we need to be thanking them for that. I had a nurse who came up with her own way of personally thanking people to say, it is an honor that you trust me to take care of you. Thank you. But again, we should all figure out a way to be thanking our patients. It doesn't have to be a card sent home, just a genuine thank you as people leave. So again, remember, here's AID-IT right here. And here's our list of things that we said that patients want. And we're not going to look at Restore My Health because that's a given. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. So when you acknowledge people, that's a timeliness. Oh, they know I'm here. It's a kindness. It gives me hope and certainty that, okay, this place is good. And it helps give continuity that, okay, they're welcoming me. When I introduce myself, it hits 3 of these dots, the be kind and hope and certainty. Duration hits 4. Explaining hits 3. Thanking hits 3. So I want you to look at this. So if we do AID-IT, we hit almost all of our patients' needs. Now it's just the clinical part. And it's a habit that I tell staff that they can use so that they can whether they're in coming in and they've had a crazy morning at home or they've had a chill morning at home. If everyone does AID-IT, then you know that your patients are getting their needs met. And it's just a habit. It's just a habit. So again, this is something that needs to be trained. I want to show you, I have a client here in Richmond that we have been working on AID-IT for a while. And so I went out online and looked at their Google reviews. And so look at this one. From the check-in desk to the nurse technicians, they were all so courteous and pleasant. When you're in for a test, most people are a little nervous, but they made you feel so comfortable and calm, explaining what was going to happen during the test. Makes a difference when you know what's happening. For me, very calming. Would recommend to others. And again, same practice. These are reviews that have just come out this month. And this is a client that I've been working with AID-IT on for a couple of years now, actually, where we just it's constant reminders to staff to do this. This other review, they were on time to take me in. They explained why I was having this test and how it would be done and what to expect. The test was done professionally and the results were explained. All in all, every aspect of this visit was outstanding. Thank you. So again, AID-IT works. We have been using it in hospitals for a very long time now, over a decade, at most all the hospitals where I work, but it's very much a national trend. It's just that medical practices have not begun using it as much. Very effective. Now I'm going to talk to you about two hints from Disney. As I said, I got to go to Disney and be trained there, and they do customer service right. I actually spoke at an event. I was a lucky girl. I got to speak at an event at Disney. And so after my event, I took my college roommate came down with me and stayed with me, and we went to a restaurant right after I spoke. And so the hostess put this black napkin down in front of my space, but she did not put it down in front of my friend's space. Anybody have any idea? Quickly, if you have any idea, write it in the chat. Why did I get the black napkin and my friend did not? Any ideas? Erin, did anyone have any idea?
I'm
Okay,
looking. You wore lipstick?
oh, that's a good one. No, actually, here's what it was. I was wearing black pants. And those of you who are female and have worn black pants out to a restaurant and put that white napkin on your lap, you know, you pretty much have to burn those pants afterwards. It gets white lint all over the pants and you can't go out anywhere. I mean, it looks terrible. So that hostess noticed my black pants, put the black napkin down in front of me, did not say a word. She did not explain why she was doing it. She figured I'd know. She didn't draw attention to it. And that is Disney in a nutshell. Disney pays attention to the details. The difference between something good and something great is attention to detail. And Disney does that over and over and over again. This is your second tool, and we've already been talking about this a lot, but the second tool, and this is the one Disney presses on, is to be assertively friendly. You have to be assertively friendly, not aggressively friendly, but assertively friendly. And so again, that has so much more to do with that appearance. They actually let people go out to say, go have an experience. Like if you're a ride operator at Disney, your supervisor will sometimes come and relieve you so that you can go and have an experience. They say, go make someone's day, go have an interaction with someone, with one of our customers. And that's so that the staff member gets the connection to what it is they're doing, to purpose. So Disney says you need to be assertively friendly. And we've already talked about how awesome Chick-fil-A is like that, is about that. And I'm telling you, there is no reason why you cannot train your staff to be assertively friendly, to make to go through AIDIT, to make eye contact with people, to thank them, and to be extremely kind. Again, you know, you walk into a place and they all say, hey, we're glad you're here. So that's how we should be when we see someone slip in the door. We're happy to see you. Every customer, every time, we should be making eye contact with them and saying hello, no matter what. So again, take this to heart that you should be training your staff to be assertively friendly. When you talk about the only difference you can make is service, why aren't we hitting on this? Fake it till you make it. Yes, your staff should be expected that if they are in a bad mood, they need to be able to put that away and fake it till they make it. So we know when we talk about experiments, as I said, I'm a psychologist. They did an experiment where they took like a pen and told people to put it in their mouth like a straw, which makes you kind of frown, or they had them put it like this, which forces a smile. So instead of saying, hey, frown, and attach an emotional label to it, or smile, which puts the happy label on it, they just said, do this, or do this, which forced a fake a smile or a frown. And what we found is that 30 seconds after holding the smile, our chemically we start to change, our emotions start to change. So we should not allow anyone to come into our business who is an employee to come in a bad mood and slam things around or put everyone on eggshells. That is organizational malpractice. So we cannot allow it, and we need for them to go simmer down, take a little time out, maybe give them a pen to put in their mouth. Let's assign the pens so that we get them to smile for 30 seconds. But we cannot allow that, because that one negative person who may have had a bad morning has the potential to chase off several of your patients without you even knowing it. So expect your staff to be in a good mood. And the last concept I want to talk about before we close out is everything speaks. Everything speaks. This is a Disney concept. And what it basically means is everything about your practice is screaming at the patients who come in, whether you are paying any attention to it or not. We walk in, and how does your place smell? How do the magazines look? So again, it's the senses. Are your seats comfortable? Does the place feel welcoming? All the senses. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I taste? What do I touch? What do I feel? And so it is imperative that you go around your practice and look at it from a patient's point of view and see what is speaking to them. Look at this. You know, I've gone around places before and like, this is a bulletin board that I saw around. This drives me crazy. It's as if the people behind the desk are trying to wallpaper themselves in. Now, I know that all this stuff, so what is that saying to patients? It's like, you're really bothering me. If I could cover up this other window, I totally would do it. And I know all this stuff is important. You know, these are the who's on call schedule. This is the lab numbers. There's all kinds of important stuff here, but it should not be a barrier between you and your patients. You know, look at this junky room, just walking by and I see meds out. Look at this med turned over, all the trash. Again, I know we're busy, but people see all of this stuff. One of my practices here recently, I went to this brand new practice, beautiful building. I taught a class in their waiting room between Christmas and New Year's. You know, that week in between, they asked if I could come into their waiting room and teach a class to staff. I did. And I saw, you know, how your doctors will like teach a class at the hospital on back pain, let's say, or incontinence, whatever their specialty is. They do a little talk at the hospital. And the hope is that not only do we educate patients, but we also generate business. Well, this particular practice had a flyer up for their physician who was going to be teaching a class. And I kept looking at the date, and it was like, this was the week between Christmas and New Year's, and this poster was for early November. And again, this waiting room is gorgeous. And so I could not believe that was still up. And then as I looked around, there were 3 more in this waiting room. And so that when I see that as a patient, I'm thinking, they don't even know what day it is. They don't even know what time it is. So that impacts my trust for you overall if I'm seeing things like that. And so here's one thing I'm going to tell you. If you have several offices, and a lot of places do, they'll have several medical practices, you should exchange people. So you should take, like the office manager from one place should come to another and just look at things with a new eye, because we get conditioned. We don't see things in our own space. It's just like if you have ever had to write something and you keep reading it over and over again, and you don't even see that you missed a whole word or a whole phrase there. It's that whole thing of becoming conditioned. So I highly recommend you to exchange people to go look at the environment to see what it needs. And that includes the parking lot. How does the parking lot look? Are there potholes? Is there a trash can there? Is the trash can overflowing? Just, you really need to see what is speaking about your place. All right, this has no sound. Quick little video here. You might have seen this. Looks like y'all are getting a package. I'm so happy. Oh, you're getting a new TV, everyone. Yes, you are. Boom. I like how he looks back. Customer service at its finest. So here's the point as we close out. It's important. So what did we talk about? We talked about 3 things. It's important that if you want your staff to do these things, doing AIDIT, again, we'll talk about what that is. You have to hold them accountable. Anything that is important to you should be in as part of their evaluation. So service expectations must be built into the foundation. Your employees should be trained on this. New staff should be trained on this, and they should be held accountable and be part of the evaluation. And this is a place where we often fall down. Like, we do evaluations because we know we should, but usually everyone gets the same raise. And then things that are important, we're checking people off on skills, but we're not checking them off on the things that make the business successful. And so it's important that you build these things into your evaluation. So quick recap, aid it. Drill this into your staff, it works. That's acknowledge, introduce, have them talk about the duration of things, explain what's going to happen, and your staff should be thanking our patients. Be assertively friendly. We should be the Chick-fil-A of the medical practice world. And as I said, it is the only thing that sets you apart. If you are known for being extremely friendly, you notice they talked about that in the 2 reviews I showed you online from a practice I work with, that they point out that they were friendly and kind. And that's what people are looking for. And then also everything speaks. Start looking around your environment and see what is speaking to your patients. And with that, remember that the bottom line for all of this, let's say your office is not as new. All right, that's fine. People will still come to you if they feel like they are connected. If we don't take care of our customers, someone else will. And with that, I will open up to questions. Anybody have questions? Erin, no questions, is that right?
I am not seeing any at the moment.
Okay, well, I am just really thrilled. I want to tell you this stuff works. I've been doing it for a long time. There's also other hints out there that can be very helpful with your clientele. But I picked out the 3 that I felt were the very most important that are going to make a difference. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Erin. I'm very grateful to have spent this time with you. Thank you so much for zooming in with me. And I'm going to be at your live event that's supposed to be held in April. So my talk then will be on toxic staff and how to manage your toxic staff, which will chase off your good staff and will chase off your patients if you give them too much air. Thank you so much.
Erin, this is Dave Regan. On behalf of the Pennsylvania MGMA board, just like to thank you for an excellent presentation. We're looking forward to seeing you in the spring, hopefully, crossing my fingers, knocking on wood, because I think it would be great to see you in person. And that's our goal and our plan. But we know COVID sometimes will want to try to interfere with that. So we're hoping for the best. So thank you again very much. Excellent presentation. I've heard many sort of, patient relations, patient satisfaction discussions, and you brought some new things to the table today. So appreciate the freshness and appreciate the research behind some of the survey questions. Those were very helpful. Again, thanks everyone. We hope to see you in a few minutes.